Yo, what is good YouTube? My name is The Deli, back with another Destiny 2 build video. Today we're going to be going over my Stasis Hunter build for Season of the Deep. In this background gameplay, I am in the legendary Lightfall campaign mission Breakneck, which caps me 15 light levels below, and I'm just mowing through these enemies like it's absolutely nothing. This is a very strong build for boss DPS and ad clear. Let's take a look at the build. Alright, so jumping into the build, we are going to be taking advantage of the Mask of Bacchus exotic helmet. This exotic helmet's armor perk is Light Shift. Replaces your Stasis subclass dodge ability with a longer range, faster moving shift that partially cloaks you during use. After shifting, your Stasis and arc weapons deal increased damage for a short time. So basically, when you use your class ability, it's going to give you Stasis weapon boost and arc weapon boost times 4. So this is a very big boost to your weapons. I believe it's over 25% boost. It's really strong and absolutely slaps on weapons like Aegir Scepter, and weapons like the Plug 1, Salvager Salvo, or Barents. It's just a really strong combo to pair with these weapons. Alright, now taking a look at the super abilities, aspects, and fragments. We only have one option for our super. We're going to be using Silence and Squall. This is going to cause slow and freeze, so we'll be able to stun overload champions and unstoppable champions as well. For our class ability, we're going to be on Gambler's Dodge. Anytime we use our class ability near enemies, it's going to recharge our melee ability. This is really good, so we can always have those Stasis Shurikens up. For our jump, this is just personal preference. I like to use triple jump. For our melee, we only have one option, Withering Blade. We get 2 charges of the Stasis Shuriken, so that means if we use both of them on an unstoppable champion, we'll freeze him, being able to stun him, and we'll also be able to stun overload champion since we'll be able to apply slow. It's a really good melee. This is also going to pair very well with one of our fragments as well. For our grenade, we're going to be using Dustfill Grenade. This is preference as well. I just like that you're able to stun lock, champions by constantly freezing them, and it's going to pair well with one of our aspects. Alright, now jumping into our first aspect, we're going to be using Touch of Winter. Your Glacier, Duskfield, and Cold Snap grenades have enhanced functionality. Our Duskfield grenade is going to have an increased slow field size and creates a small stasis crystal on impact. For our second aspect, we're going to be using Grim Harvest. Defeating slowed or frozen combatants creates stasis shards. These shards grant melee energy when picked up by you or your allies. This is really good with our stasis shurikens. You throw a shuriken at somebody, you slow them, then you get the final blow. It's gonna spawn a stasis shard. So it's a really good loop to constantly have stasis shards on the field and constantly give us melee energy to have these shurikens. Really strong aspect. Now let's take a look at the fragments. Our first fragment is going to be Whisper of Rhyme. Collecting a stasis shard grants a small amount of overshield which falls off after 10 seconds. Collecting additional shards adds to the overshield and refreshes the timer. For our second fragment, we're going to be using Whisper of Shards. Shattering a stasis crystal temporarily boosts your grenade recharge rate. Shattering additional stasis crystals increases the duration of the benefit. This is also a +10 to resilience, which is always good. So since our Duskfield is going to be enhanced, there's going to be a small stasis crystal in the middle of it, and that's going to be how we proc Whisper of Shards. Alright, for our third fragment, we're going to be using Whisper of Chains. When you are near frozen targets or a friendly stasis crystal, you take reduced damage. This also grants a +10 to recovery. So this is really good, just giving us more damage resist on top of our 100 resilience. It's really strong. For our fourth stasis fragment, we're going to be using Whisper of Impetus. Damaging targets with a stasis melee reloads your stowed weapons and grants a temporary boost to weapon ready speed. This is really good to just get a quick reload on a rocket, on your fusion rifle, so you can keep that reservoir burst up. It's a really, really good fragment, and it's really good in our DPS rotation with our stasis rocket. And for our last stasis fragment, we're going to be using Whisper of Conduction. Nearby stasis shards will track to your position. This is a +10 to Resil and a +10 to Intellect. This is really good. You don't have to worry about running into those crystals. They'll just automatically, come towards you, which is really good. Don't have to worry about having to pick them up. Alright, now going over our weapons of choice, we're going to be using Aegir Scepter. Aegir Scepter intrinsic trait is Aegir's Call. Final blows with this weapon generate a slowing burst around the defeated target. Also, with its catalyst, we get access to Will Given Form, so when our super is full and we press X to special reload, it's going to supercharge this weapon. It's going to do a lot of damage, and we'll be able to stun unstoppable champions. We'll be able to stun overload champions, and we'll be constantly freezing barrier champions so they don't have a chance to even lift their barrier up. So this is a really strong gun because you're able to take care of all the champion types. And with Mask of Bacchus, we're going to be getting a ×4 stasis weapon boost on top. This is a very strong trace rifle in this build. Our special weapon of choice, I'm using a plug 1. You could use something like Forbearance here or Salvager Salvo. And Salvager Salvo is obtainable in the tower. You can buy it from the kiosk. So that's just another option if you don't have a plug 1 or a Forbearance. For the heavy weapon, we're going to be using the Cold Comfort. This is the new stasis rocket from the Ghosts of the Deep dungeon. This thing absolutely destroys. If you play it right, you could shoot 5 rockets back to back. If you have Envious Assassin procced all the way where you have 3 in the mag, and then with Restoration Ritual, it gives you that bonus reload. So you could shoot 5 rockets. You shoot the first 4, then you throw your Stasis Shuriken, and you'll get that 5th one for free. So this is a really strong rocket, especially with bait and switch and the Stasis ×4 weapon boost on top of it from Mask of Bacchus. This thing absolutely destroys bosses. Also, if you want to run this build more for ad clear and you don't want to use a rocket, you could throw in something like the Chain of Command machine gun. This is also obtainable from the kiosk in the tower. A really strong option if you don't want to use a rocket and you're just, clearing ads. Now let's take a look at the armor mods. On our Mask of Bacchus, we're going to be using 1 Harmonic Siphon, so rapid stasis weapon final blows create orbs of power. We're going to be using 1 Font of Wisdom, so when we do have armor charge, it's going to give us a +30 to our intellect. So instead of sitting at 28, I'm going to be sitting at 58 intellect. And we're going to be using 1 Heavy Ammo Finder. On our gauntlets, we're going to be using 1 Heavy-Handed, so final blows with our shurikens are going to create orbs of power. We're going to be using 1 Impact Induction. Causing damage with our melee reduces our grenade cooldown. So you can see the little combo here. We're going to constantly have our shurikens up, so we're going to be able to get that quick grenade cooldown so we can throw more dusk fields out. And our final mod on our gauntlets, we're going to be using Font of Vigor. This is going to give us a +30 to our strength stat when we have armor charge, so we're going to be sitting at 82 strength. On our chest armor, this is preference here. I like Concussive Dampener since there's a lot of AoE damage in this game. I have Arc Resist here too, a lot of arc damage this season. And then in our final slot, I have Harmonic Reserves, so I can carry more ammo for my stasis weapons. On our leg armor, I'm running 1 Harmonic Scavenger, so when I pick up bricks, I get more ammo for my stasis weapons. Running 1 Font of Agility, this is a +30 to our mobility when we have armor charge, so I'm sitting at 100 mobility. And then we're going to be running 1 Elemental Charge. Collecting a Fire Sprite, Ionic Trace, Stasis Shard, or Void Breach, or destroying a Strand Tangle has an escalating chance to give you armor charge. We're going to be creating tons of Stasis Shards in this build, so just another free way to get armor charge. And on our Hunter Cloak, we're going to be running 1 Bomber, 1 Empowered Finisher, and 1 Time Dilation, so our armor charge stacks last longer. Alright, so here is a quick little overview of the build. You can see all the mods I used right here on the left hand side. And you can see all of the artifact perks. The artifact perks don't really matter too much. There's not any for stasis, but there is overload trace rifle. So that's important. We're also running counter charge, so when we stun a champion, it gives us armor charge. And then here are the weapons I use with their rolls. And here's a quick check on my drip if you're interested in that and what shaders I use, what armor I used. That's going to be it for the build. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you liked the build and tried it out, leave a comment down below. Also, don't forget to turn that notification bell on for more Destiny 2 content. I will have the dim link for this build down in the description below. Thanks again, and peace.